November 5th, 2018, regular meeting of the School Board, Newbury School District Board of Education is called to order. This meeting is being held in accordance with Section 33, 13, 15 of the Ohio Revised Code. Mrs. Powell, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Matthews?
Present.
Mr. Sanders? Here. Mr. Sedeby?
Here.
Mr. Simpkins? Here. Mrs. Zoll?
Here. I'd like to welcome everyone to the November 5th, 2018 regular meeting of the Newbury School District Board of Education meeting. Prior to this meeting, each board member has received for their review and consideration the agenda and materials associated with each agenda item for the board's approval. Public can access the agenda through the district's website. The agenda is available through the district's website for public viewing the Friday prior to the board meeting. Board members have the opportunity to call the superintendent and treasurer for information concerning agenda items and to request, if needed, additional information. The first hearing of the public is dedicated to those who wish to address the board on agenda items only. The second hearing of the public is dedicated to those who wish to address the board on any subject you wish to speak about, whether it be on an item on the agenda or another issue. When addressing the board, please state your name, and comments are limited to 5 minutes. Please address questions to the president. Please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any additional questions or corrections to tonight's agenda? If none, let's move to the approval of tonight's agenda. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mr. Sedeby?
Yes.
Mr. Simpkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Zoll?
Yes. Are there any corrections to the minutes? There's a motion to approve minutes for October 8th, October 22nd, and the LPDC minutes from October 8th.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mr. Sedeby?
Yes.
Mr. Simpkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Zoll?
Yes. Motion passes. Okay, the hearing of the public on agenda items. At this time, if there's anyone who would like to address the board on agenda items only. Okay. I'll now turn the agenda over to Dr. Hoynes for the superintendent's reports and recommendations.
Good evening, Madam President and members of the board. I'd like to recommend approval of the donations listed in the consent agenda A1.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
I'd like to just thank everyone who made donations in memory of Robert Campbell. We have a nice list of people who donated, and it's greatly appreciated. Anything else? Okay. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mr. Sedeby?
Yes.
Mr. Simpkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Zoll?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to recommend approval for the senior trip to Toronto, Canada, April 26th through the 28th, 2019.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All right, please call the roll.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mr. Sedeby?
Yes.
Mr. Simpkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Zoll?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. We have several presentations tonight, and I'd like to begin by asking Mr. Shafee to introduce his distinguished students.
Good evening, Dr. Hoynes, Madam President, members of the board, and guests here this evening. Before I introduce our distinguished students, I would like to invite everyone to a couple of events. Next Monday at 9 o'clock, we'll be hosting the Veterans Day ceremony in this auditorium, and the public is invited, and we would love to have everybody come out for that. And then on November 16th and 17th, our drama club will be presenting The Awakening of Kip Van Winkle at 7 o'clock, and we'd like to invite everybody out to that. The following are the distinguished students. These students are being recognized by their teachers for academic excellence, character, kindness, academic or personal improvement, and/or school spirit. First up, 6th grader Savannah Douglas. Savannah is here. Savannah was recognized by Mrs. Baker for being conscientious, goal-oriented, and always showing integrity. Next up is 6th grader Peyton Ward. Peyton is being recognized because he always helps his classmates, has a great attitude, works to his ability each and every day. 7th graders, Haley Day, being recognized by Ms. Santos. Haley's in play practice. She's a classroom leader, works independently and collaboratively, and pushes herself to succeed. 7th grader Rachel Holden. Parents are here, works extremely hard at improving and does a great job in class. 8th grader Olivia Snyder Mullet.
Mr. Schaefer, great.
Oh.
Haley's here too.
Olivia is being recognized by Ms. Kerman. She says she always shows great effort in class. She works very hard. She helps others. She's always asking questions, and she brings laughter to class sometimes. And that's a great thing. 9th graders, Ben Lowmaster. Ben was recognized by Mr. Keating, his algebra teacher, for working very hard, improving, and working hard to overcome adversity and difficulties in class. Our next 9th grader, Madeline Zembiak. Madeline was also recognized by Mr. Keating for showing great work ethic and determination when things get difficult. 10th grader, Ashley Airy. Ashley was recognized by Mr. Keating in his geometry class for demonstrating kindness and academic improvement. Next up, sophomore Kara Hamby. Kara was identified by Ms. Kerman. She said she is a great student, a great classmate, and a great person. She helps others, and she is great at she has shown great growth over the last couple of years. Sophomore Emily Welchel. Emily is recognized by Mrs. Volker for overcoming obstacles, for helping others in class, and for always demonstrating great strength and determination. Our next up is a junior, Mason Heath. Mason was nominated by Mrs. McFadden for the outstanding work that he has done on our student council, the outstanding work that he did on homecoming, and the kindness, support that he showed to Mrs. Conley when she was working with him and working with our students on student council. And last is junior Joshua O'Neill. Josh was recognized by Mrs. Volker for showing great determination. He got off to a very slow start, dedicated himself halfway through the 9 weeks and raised his letter grade, 2 letter grades. Well, she said many students would have given up. He showed great determination. If we could have a nice hand for all of these guys.
Thank you, Mr. Shafee, and congratulations to all those star students. Mrs. Thomasetti, did you have an update tonight? Okay, thank you. Next, Mr. Porfia, our athletic update.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Dr. Hoynes, Madam Board President, and members of the board and guests here tonight, I would like to start out by thanking all the athletic workers and volunteers who helped me this fall season. Definitely can't do it alone, and anybody who's come to the games knows that it takes a lot to run an athletic department, and I want to thank all those people. I'll be sending them a personal thank you letter, and I'll be letting the board know all the people who've helped this year. My presentation tonight is to recognize 2 of our NAC championships teams this fall. How about that? So first, I had the idea to put soccer over here, but everybody come right up front and line up right in the front so everybody can see our first NAC championship soccer team since 1986. So a few years ago, everybody knows that we moved into the Northeastern Athletic Conference, and I really think that that was a great move for us. Really allowed us to compete on such a great level with some challenging teams still. So this soccer team, which completed our NAC schedule 11-1, so that's amazing. We finished our regular season 13-2-1, if I'm not mistaken. With 2 hard-fought games for CBC opponents. Coach Peekser came up to me last year and he was like, I want to play Wycliffe and I want to play Kirtland. And that's what we did. We lost to Wycliffe 2-0, just lost to them. And Kirtland, we pulled out a 1-1 tie. So how about that, huh? So then we moved on to the sectional games. We got a first-round bye and played our second sectional game versus Cornerstone Christian, winning a decisive 9-1 victory in a lightning-delayed game twice. One of the delays happened a minute before halftime started, so it was a great game. They continued on to Badger and fought them hard and just lost 3-1 against Badger in the second sectional. But, you know, they are an amazing team, ladies and gentlemen. So just to let you know, we have all our NAC all-conference team members were Julian Circola and Mario Paletti. Okay. Just to let you know, Julian broke the all-time goal record at Newbury with 115 goals. The previous record was 80. Mario broke the all-time assist record. For those of you who don't know, that's passing the ball to somebody who scores, okay? With 67. The previous record was 44. They were also, both Julian and Mario were first team All-Greater Cleveland Conference. Honorable mention for the NAC was Hannah Grubbs. Just want to point out that our female soccer players contribute greatly to our team, and we couldn't do it without them. So it's an amazing opportunity for them. Alex Peekser and Hannah Grubbs were also second team All-Greater Cleveland Conference. And then we had a couple honorable mentions, Matt Fink, Tino Johnson, and Evan Arnold for All-Greater Cleveland. I want to point out I want to point out that Alex Beekser, he was our keeper for the season, had 19 shutouts, and that's a career record at Newbury. So that's a tough position. So finally, I want to thank Coach Beekser and Coach Derek Patterson, the assistant coach, for all their time to the Newbury soccer program. Thank you to the parents, the soccer parents, for all this team meals, for traveling to the games. Thank you for all the soccer volunteers. What an amazing thing to do to get a MAC championship at Newbury, you know, with 14 players for the whole season. So thank you so much. They deserve a big round of applause. Mr. Shapey, did you get a picture? Did, okay. Thanks for backing me up here. It's all right. I don't need to be a joke teller tonight. So, second team, come on up here, Mr. Shapey, and all the volleyball players. And as they walk up, please remember that this is their second NAC championship in a row for this volleyball team. So that's amazing in itself. So this is the first time that Newbury has won back-to-back championships in league since the 1992 season, a long time. Our volleyball team finished the NAC with a perfect 15-0 record. So in regular season play, we played 22 games for the volleyball season, and they were 19-3, losing to some tough teams, Laurel, and I believe Beechwood, and I forget the third, St. John. Because we got St. John back. So they won their first sectional game versus Bristol, and then they continued to win both district games in thrilling fashion, might I add. Their district championship game versus St. John was an amazing game for those of you who traveled down to Chalker High School in the Southington Local School District. We played St. John amazingly tough, and we won in 5 sets. And it was so exciting when the girls ran out to the court, and we got some great pictures of them winning. Then we traveled down to Lake High School in Uniontown, Ohio, and I know some people were able to make that trip, and we took a Spirit bus, which was great. I want to thank Greg Trove because he organized kind of a really unique escort. We had the Geauga County Sheriff and also Newbury Fire Department who escorted them out of Newbury in the bus. You know, I believe the fire department was taking the lead and the sheriff was behind. So I know people probably thought the bus was getting pulled over, and I didn't prep Dr. Hoynes on that, so I apologize. But it was kind of really unique, and I want to thank Greg Trove for that. And this was our first regional semifinal game since 2009 season. So they played an amazing, they played a tough team in Wellsville, but they did an amazing job representing Newbury at all times. You know, and I know they wanted to win that game, but they fought and fought and fought and never gave up. We had 2 Division IV All-District First Team representatives, Kaylee Hamby and Haley Hamilton. Kaylee was also the Division IV MVP, and Julia Lai was honorable mention All-District, so I want to congratulate her. So then we also had some NAC All-Conference team members. Kaylee, Julia, and Haley were all-team, all-conference team. So give them a round of applause. NAC honorable mention were Sarah Zembiak and Aaron Peekser. And I know he probably didn't want me to put this on here, but I did anyways. District Coach of the Year 2 years in a row was Michael Shafee. So then I want to send a thank you to all the assistant coaches, Drea Kerman, Alyssa Bodner, Keely Shafee. They do a great job with helping Mr. Shafee. Thanks to head coach Michael Chafee. Thanks to the parents and the fans for supporting us throughout the season. And just a final thank you to the Newbury Fire Department and the Geauga County Sheriff Department for escorting them, but also to the Newbury Fire Department who are at all of our home football games every single Friday. That is the end of my presentation. Sports is a pastime, and we definitely had some fun this fall season with supporting our volleyball and soccer team, and I will also present other teams as next meeting, but I don't want to take up too much time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that great presentation. Congratulations to our soccer and volleyball team, and especially for representing Newbury so well. At this time, Mrs. Weber will give our Black Knight parent report. I guess maybe Mrs. Sanders is.
Okay. Yeah, I gave Jamie Weber the night off because I'm not in the concession stand this month. So, a couple things I just wanted to mention. Mr. Chafee had already talked about the fall play on November 16th and 17th. The after prom is going to be having their dessert reception before and after on both nights. So bring $5. You can get a nice piece of cake, chocolate, of course, cup of coffee, and bottle of water. We will have to-go boxes, so you don't have to stay. You can take it home and eat it in your jammies. The Scholastic Book Fair is going to be here next week also, the week of November 12th through 16th. They will be open for the open house on Tuesday and Thursday, November 13th and 14th. So if you have conferences for your child that evening, you can check and stop in at the book fair, which is in the PD room over at the high school building. And then last but not least, our playground resurfacing project. Not only did it go underway, but it has actually happened, and it looks fantastic. I'd like to say thank you to WLGAR Paving. They tried to get it in on a Saturday and not have to interrupt recess, but they wound up doing it during the week so we can get it done before the snow starts to fly. So that is completed and finished, and we are going to be, Mrs. Tokarski is going to be getting the advanced art students out to maybe do some hopscotch or some different games and all that kind of stuff on the court so that they could enjoy that. And we'll probably be putting the basketball markings back again. It seems like that's a pretty popular place after school, those boys. So, and tomorrow, 6 o'clock in the PD room is the BKP meeting, if anybody would like to attend. Thank you.
I want to thank the Black Knight parents for all they do, and special thanks for the resurfacing of the playground. Greatly appreciated. Mrs. Matthews, legislative report.
I'm going to do the same as I did before. Remember that the last day to vote is tomorrow. And if you value your public education, please take a moment to really think about who you're electing and make sure their principles align with yours in terms of public education. And whatever that is, as long as you vote, we're proud of you as a board. So thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Matthews. Madam President, members of the board, I recommend approval of the personnel items listed under C1 on tonight's agenda.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, please call the roll.
Mrs. Matthews,
Yes.
Mr. Sanders,
Yes.
Mr. Sedeby,
Yes.
Mr. Simpkins,
Yes.
Mrs. Zoll.
Yes.
Thank you. That concludes my part of tonight's agenda.
Mrs. Collins, will you please give tonight's treasurer's report?
Sure. Madam President, members of the board, I motion to approve items A1.
So moved. Second.
Mrs. Matthews,
Yes.
Mr. Sanders,
Yes.
Mr. Sedeby,
Yes.
Mr. Simpkins,
Yes.
Mrs. Zoll.
Yes.
Madam President, members of the board, I motion to approve the October 2018 financials.
Is there a motion? So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mr. Sedity?
Yes.
Mr. Simpkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Zoll?
Yes.
Madam President, members of the board, approve the contract with the Geauga County Public Library for the 2018-2019 school year.
Is there a motion? So moved.
Second.
I just wanted to discuss this. The contract itself hasn't changed, but we are enforcing the contract that was existing. Is that my understanding?
Yes, and I was absent from the meeting that took place that day with the library, so if I could defer to Dr. Holmes, she has more of the details on items that may have changed.
Yes, the library is now providing the library service for our students.
Good. Okay, please call roll.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mr. Sedity?
Yes.
Mr. Simpkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Zoll?
Yes.
Madam President, members of the board, I recommend to approve the quote from Showtime Sound Company to install 8 new wireless microphones in the auditorium for the price of $5,981.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. And can you just go into detail a little bit about the need for that?
Yes, and in discussion with Mr. Kennedy, the current microphone system we have here in the auditorium will cease to exist due to FCC regulations, and so he went out and procured 3 different quotes. The quotes that we had, this one was the most viable, and that they will also install the equipment, which I understand is not an easy thing to do.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, please call roll.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mr. Sedity?
Yes.
Mr. Simpkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Zoll?
Yes.
Madam President, members of the board, I'd like to recommend to approve the Fund 007-1430 for the Newbury Teachers Memorial Scholarship.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Okay, please call the roll.
Mrs. Matthews?
Yes.
Mr. Sanders?
Yes.
Mr. Sedity?
Yes.
Mr. Simpkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Zoll?
Yes. Okay, thank you, Mrs. Collin. Okay, the Board of Education report and recommendations. Last week, we launched an online survey on our website and social media. A release was also sent to our local papers to notify the community. The goal of the survey was to hear from our staff, parents, and community on what they value in education. The intention of the survey was not to replace voting on a ballot, but was intended to be used as one of many tools that our board must weigh in assisting in our decision-making. Early on, it was brought to our attention that there were reported technical errors, such as timing out or getting kicked off the system before finishing the surveys. We did report those errors to the research firm, and they notified the software firm that administers the survey. As of Friday, nearly 200 people had completed the surveys. So please, if you haven't taken the survey yet or encountered an error when you attempted to take it, complete the survey as soon as you can. And we intend to keep the link live until this Friday. Our report will be available at the end of this week. Okay, so under the update on the combined financial forecast report, as promised, tonight we're going to share the merged forecast of Newbury with Berkshire and also with West Geauga schools. Mr. Mike Sobel from Public Finance Resources will share the merged forecasts. I'd like to note that the merged forecasts are also being shared at the Berkshire Board of Education meeting tonight and the West Geauga Board of Education meeting also tonight. What we're presenting is the merging of the October forecast from the 3 school districts. It is my understanding Berkshire and West Geauga's merged forecast may look different somewhat because they're using personnel and purchase service numbers that reflect their staffing guidelines, which are significantly different than the staffing guidelines that we are currently using. We're meeting again tomorrow morning, representatives from each district, including the Geauga ESC, to review their adjusted forecast more in detail. And I'm going to recommend that we have a board work session in the near future to discuss their adjusted forecasts. So we'd like to welcome the presentation from Mr. Mike Sobel from Public Finance Resources. And the board will, if they could take a seat out front, she'll bring down the projector.
Good evening, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. My name is Mike Sobel, I'm with Public Finance Resources. We have been working with the Newbury, Berkshire, and West Geauga schools now for the last several months, putting together what the district would look like if Newbury merged into either one of them. We've actually been working on and off with districts in Geauga County on merger issues now for almost 6 years. Going back to starting in 2012. An overview of what I'm going to go through today. If you've got questions while I'm going along, ask them. You don't need to wait to the end. The assumption in the preliminary work that we've done is that the merger will take place effective July 1st of 2020. I'll go through a little bit of the revenue impacts of the merger, the expenditure impacts of the merger, and then cash and a couple of other issues at the end regarding what would happen with the merger. Taking a look at we're going to start with the property taxes. The way this will work is the property taxes will, for tax year 2020, will merge for tax purposes. They may actually not show up until 2021 in the actual tax rolls, but the surviving, whoever the merged district's tax rates would apply to the 2020 taxes that are paid in 2021. For the purposes of the merged district, this comes on like new construction. And so it will generate additional money for that district. Residents of this district, if a merger takes place, in 2019, taxes paid in 2020 would pay on the Newbury tax rates. For taxes 20 payable in 2021 would pay on the surviving district's tax rates. There will also be a property tax carryover from the 2019 taxes paid in 2020. The second half payments for tax year 19 would not occur until after the merger would take place. Those payments will still be based on the current Newbury rates at the time, but they will be paid to the surviving district. They will go to the surviving district, but at the Newbury tax rates. For an income tax, West Geauga does not have an income tax, so that is not an issue there. Berkshire does have a 1% earned income tax that is in effect right now. Estimates from the State Department of Taxation is that the tax on the current Newbury residents at the 1% would raise about $1.3 million annually in Berkshire. The way this would work with the merger is it would be as if you as residents moved into the district on July 1st, 2020. So income that you earn after July 1st, 2020 would be subject to the Berkshire income tax. As far as for Berkshire receiving money, it will probably take 3 fiscal years for them to get all the way up to the $1.3 million of collections, although the majority of that will happen in the first 2 years. That the money, there'll be some spillover into year 3. Because of the timing of the collections and the delay, and when things are due. So essentially the first full year that you would be part of the, if it was Berkshire, the Berkshire district, the first full tax year, which would be 2021, those returns aren't due until April of 2022, and money that's paid in April of 2022 does not go to Berkshire because of the way the payments are made until July, which is now the third fiscal year. And so that's why it'll probably take 3 years to get fully up, for them to get fully up, ramped up with after. As far as state aid, general aid from the state, right now all 3 districts are on what is known as funding guarantees. What that means is the state runs everything through the funding formula, and the amount that the funding formula says that the state should pay the district is less than was paid to the district in a prior year in all 3 cases. And so they get a guarantee payment to bring them up to the guarantee level. Because all 3 districts are on the guarantee right now, the anticipation is that upon a merger, the district, whether it's Berkshire or whether it's West Geauga, would continue to be a guarantee district. What drives this is a state share percentage. Newbury and West Geauga are both 5% state share index districts, which is the lowest the state share can be. You cannot fall below 5%. Berkshire is about a 20% state share index. When you merge that with a district that is a 5% state share index, it'll probably drive the index somewhere between 10 and 12% in Berkshire if the merger takes place there, which is still going to keep the district on the guarantee. It's a company. It's not just property values; it's valuation per pupil that matters. So, basically what that means is you have higher valuations per pupil in both West Geauga and Newbury than they do in Berkshire. But even that, even a 20% state share index is a pretty low. That's a pretty low number for that. The other piece of state aid, money that comes through the state, is open enrollment revenue that flows between the districts based on students going to the other district. Districts or residents of Newbury right now who open enroll into one of the recipient districts, if they become the new district, obviously those are no longer open enrolled students, they are now resident students. And the funding is different for resident students than it is for open enrolled students. Based on the latest state data, this would be for the payment that was made on October 26th, so just about a week ago. There are currently 32 Newbury resident students who are open enrolled into West Geauga and 52.5 FTEs that are open enrolled into Berkshire. So that revenue would go to the district differently than it does now. Those are the major changes on the revenue side and what will happen as far as the merger. On the personnel side, and let me caution you, are you taking questions from the audience?
Didn't you say we should interrupt you? I think she meant before.
That's up to you. I don't know.
Let's hold off questions from the public until public comment.
Let me mention to begin with, as far as on the personnel and the expenditure side, what we did in doing this is we merged the staffing as it was at the end of the 2017-18 school year into the new districts in total. It was not part of our responsibility to determine on the ends of whether it be West Geauga or Berkshire, their staffing needs with the combined district. The only piece of this we did not merge in was administration, and so we moved all other current personnel of the district into the surviving district. You can see this is the data from Newbury from the 17-18 school year. FTE teachers, there were just under 47 FTE teachers. The average salary in the district for teachers is just under $51,000. And you can see then the other classifications of employees as well. Again, we moved all these in. Newbury is eliminating 6 certified positions as of the end of this year. That is the plan right now, and that was taken into account in doing this. If you take a look, this is the same data I showed for Newbury, but for Brookshire and West Geauga. The main thing you see is that the average teaching salaries in both those districts are quite a bit higher than the average salary here in Newbury. The personnel would move into the recipient district based on the salaries in the recipient district, not on the salaries from Newbury. They would essentially become the employees of that district, and so they would come in at these salary levels on average. For the merger of benefits, Newbury's healthcare benefits are structured a little bit differently than either Brookshire or West Geauga. Newbury has just family and single. Both of the other districts have breakdowns of family where they have, like 2 spouses, 1 spouse with children, both spouses with children. For the purpose of this not having that data, is I essentially moved in all the current employees based just on family or single as they are now, under the assumption that if they were family, they are taking the family with children because just had no other real assumption to make, and then the single moved in as single. Generally, the costs, do actually change quite a bit. The cost, like if for teacher, a spouse, and children, is usually going to be quite a bit higher than it's just like a teacher and spouse. There can be a pretty big difference in the rates. Primarily, it's because there's just more people being covered under the policy, so there's a higher cost involved. For other expenditures, and this actually needs to be updated a little bit. I did get an email from Beth at Brookshire this afternoon. I blow that out. Saying that they had originally said that they would be using these buildings for the first year or two. Beth had emailed me this afternoon saying they probably would not be using the Newbury buildings through 2021 as part of the merger. When I put in the non-personnel expenditures, when I moved those into the 2 districts, what I moved in for was everything in Brookshire with the exception of your capital expenditures, which are really tied to your buildings, and then I made adjustments for open enrollment because you have the same issue on the other direction as well, is that the students would no longer be open enrollment to be resident. So that adjustment. West Geauga from the beginning had indicated they would not be using the Newbury buildings if a merger there took place. So besides the capital and the open enrollment, I also did not move in any utility costs associated with Newbury and a portion of the maintenance costs that are, I think I moved half of the maintenance costs, assuming half were for things related to the building that would move, that they would be adding costs in to the new, but half were related just to the buildings here that would not need to be there. The final issue, cash and other issues. The estimated cash balance based on the forecast and the carryover pay, the 5-year forecast that you approved last month would have shown at the end of 2020 about a $3.6 or so million balance. But that's assuming you are continuing to exist beyond the end of 2020. If you no longer exist, there is stretch pay that has to be paid out to current employees, and that would bring the cash balances to a little over $2 million rather than the $3 million rather than the 3.6 that you would have seen in the forecast last month. And then, as I mentioned at the beginning of the expenditure side, that any staffing or non-personnel expenditures that are that the recipient district would choose to make for efficiencies are not included. That's really work that has to happen on their end and works outside of the scope of what we were doing.
So they're assuming that all of our employees will be taken on.
Hold questions, please, Sylvia. She's on the board. So we're going to take questions from the board, and then at the end, Mr. Sobel is going to stay for the public comment, and he'll be able to help answer some of your questions. Go ahead.
Okay, and so this is just a recap of cash. I calculated almost about 3.7 million, but that's low because of the stretch pay. Some of the original work was done, at least assuming that the merger would take place at the end of this school year, and we were estimating at that time $4.8 million would be available. That went down to 3.7, and that drop of the 1.1 million is primarily due to the assumption that the two emergency levies that Newbury would have that would be coming up for renewal by the end of 2019 would not be renewed. And so that does affect the cash balance at the end of 2020. So with that, I know that is a very quick, brief overview. I'd be happy to answer any questions that any of the board members might have. Yeah, it's accrued wages. That, what happens is the teachers get paid over the summer even though the contract is up. And so rather than that going on for a couple months, that would all need to be paid by June 30th, in the case of a merger at the end of that year to settle all the existing contracts before the merger took place. Yeah.
Under the open enrollment figures, how current are they? We have the 32 from Newbury going to the West Side.
Right. Those are from last week. Yes, those are the figures as of the October 26th payment, which actually would have been, I think, was based on data that had been reported to the state as of October 16th. So it's, I guess, 2 weeks, about 2.5 weeks ago. The day was when the data was reported.
I think Mrs. Small wanted to do a presentation.
You have to switch, Mr. Forvia. All right, thank you.
Good? Okay. So bear with me, this is just a short presentation I prepared this afternoon, so it has not been, a long time coming. I just got some of the information this afternoon, and that's why it's a little bit shorter of a presentation. Just to recap, we did have a meeting last Friday with Berkshire and West Geauga. As has already been stated, the other districts are also holding their board meetings tonight so we can all have a cohesive message. It was discussed on Friday at the meeting that the districts of West Geauga and Berkshire would not be interested in a merger with Newbury unless we were to right-size our staff to bring over a greater cash balance to the receiving districts. When I reached out to Berkshire and West Geauga for their forecast, they were willing to provide me with, this is not a full forecast, this is just a snapshot or an abbreviated form of their forecast showing the revenue, expenditures, and their ending balance. And so you can see a jump in the revenue in fiscal years 2020 and 2021, and their ending cash balance. This is for Berkshire. Berkshire has stated that Newbury would have to bring over approximately $4.5 million in order for that merger scenario to even be feasible. Yes, this is good. They both are. Yeah. This is Berkshire. West Geauga, kind of the same scenario. You can see the increase in revenues from 2020 to 2021. They do go into a little bit of deficit spending, and then those are their ending cash balances. I don't have any of their assumptions yet. We are meeting again tomorrow to find out some more of those numbers, so hopefully we will have some more information forthcoming. I just wanted to be able to present what we have at this time.
Can you tell us what their ending balance is? We can't see any of the numbers.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So
Thank you.
for fiscal year 2020, it's about $16,200,000. This is West Geauga. For fiscal year 2021, it's $12,000,000, about $700,000. Fiscal year 2022, $6,400,000. And by fiscal year 2023, deficit spending of a little over $1 million. In Berkshire, were you able to see that one? Okay. Fiscal year 2019, $4,200,000. Fiscal year 2020, $4,100,000. Fiscal year 2021, $4,700,000. Fiscal year 2022, $4,500,000. And fiscal year 2023, $3,900,000. Correct. Yeah, it ebbs and flows. Oh, Kim, you wanted to know if everyone was kind of deficit spending around the same time, and they are occurring at some different paces here, but I think that's kind of natural with any school district.
Sarah, Berkshire is saying that we have to bring 4.5 million to make this feasible. How much is West Geauga saying that we have to bring?
I had not had a figure from them that has been reported. This was shown on my 5-year forecast that I did last week. I just thought I would present it again on our enrollment trends. Again, I think my numbers are not showing up that great, but back in 2007, our enrollment was at 775. You'll notice down to 2018, we were at 386. It's projected by 2023 to go down to 310. During that same period in time, our staffing has increased, even though our enrollment has decreased.
Now, does that have anything to do with special education?
No, this is just the hiring of, regular teachers, along with, special education teachers, of course. Certified teachers. And so this final slide is also what I showed in my 5-year forecast. This is Newbury remaining independent, assuming that both levies are not renewed. And this is what our ending cash balances will look like over the course of the next 5 years. If you can't see it in the back. Fiscal year 2019, about $4,800,000. Fiscal year 2020, $3,600,000 with a little over $1 million deficit spending. Fiscal year 2021, $1,300,000 with $22,300,000 deficit spending. Fiscal year 2022, totally in the red, and the same for fiscal year 2023. I did not include that in this presentation, no.
Those are not assumed in our forecast right now, but you did respond to Marty's request for one renewal, each renewal, and you provided that support, correct?
Some different scenarios, yes.
to thank Mrs. Palmer, Mr. Sobel, for all the hard work that they've done. We gave them a very short time frame to work those numbers, and he worked within that contract. I know that the treasurers in all districts and superintendents, our administrators have been working very, very hard outside of normal business hours to make sure that we could get this information and present it to you as quickly as possible. And I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank you all for your work.
Sarah, would it be possible for us to get on the website what, I know you shared it with us, and I don't know, but what it shows on the website with the renewals? Because I want people to see that. I want people to see what they're, we're looking at, with what you just showed us, all three districts, even merged, we're all going into deficit spending in the same time frame. And everything else. So we're all going to have to be putting renewals on, everything else. I want people to see what that looks like if we stay independent.
Yeah, and I would say, if we have a work session and we hammer out some of those questions, we can figure some things out there.
Is the fiber forecast currently on the website?
Yes.
Yes. I think. Oh, the ones. He wants the grant.
Ones with showing results.
I'm sorry. It's okay. I'll look. Okay, any other comments or questions for Mr. Sobel or Mrs. Collins regarding the presentation? I have one comment to make just because it's been asked by two different people at this point, and I clarified that with Mr. Sobel, that there would be a 6-month period if we went east, that Newbury would be paying on our property values, our current millage as they are, and Berkshire's income tax. That has been asked. I wanted to clarify it, and there would be a 6-month period. Do you know that, Mr. Sullivan? Yes, if you could.
I think I turned the microphone off, Mike.
Okay. Yeah, because the property tax is paid 1 year in arrears and the income tax is paid in the current year, in tax year 19 property tax payable in tax year 20, if you remember on the one slide I showed, there'd be taxes we do based on the Newbury rates in the first half of calendar 20 and the second half of calendar 20 for 2019. But the income tax, remember, it's as if everyone moved on July 1st of 2020. So during that period of July through December, you'd be paying your second half taxes from 2019 because it's paid in arrears on the property taxes from Newbury, plus you would begin paying the income taxes in Berkshire for the second half of tax year 2020. So that's the overlap is just because of the property tax being in arrears by a year.
And to clarify, it's not two property taxes, it's
No,
just catching up on the previous year's property taxes.
It is the prior year's property taxes based on the Newbury rates that are in effect for 2019. They're owed the second half of the year because that's just how the payment system works. And the way the income tax works is it starts the day that you move into the district, which is July 1st.
Thank you. I did want to make a comment that this is, our very first look at the financial information as a board, as a community, and this is a step, and we need to continue to do it the right way by researching this information and analyzing it as a board. So I just wanted to just make a note that this is a step. This is not a decision. The intention is to put a work session on this month to go over during that meeting tomorrow. Next steps. Yes.
as far as timeframes, because I know we've all talked about money, like today's the first time we talked about financials, but when do we start getting to the real nitty-gritty, like the curriculums and stuff like that? And, you know, right now we're entertaining 2 schools. When do we start looking at this from what's best for our students educationally? And, you know, that may take some time. So if that progresses and it does take time, you know, what happens if this goes over a year? And then we're in a worse financial shape. I mean, has there been any thought about renewals or anything else? Or are we waiting to the last minute?
I'd like to just comment that, you know, we're just getting this information, and Mrs. Palm has just today received this, so I think it's hard to look that far ahead in an unknown time frame right now. I think tomorrow will be a good time after everyone's able to speak as boards in their communities to kind of regroup and figure out what the next steps are and what those time frames look like. Dr. Hines, would you like to address Mr. Sanders' question regarding the curriculum and analyzing other data regarding these merges?
I've been working on a comparison of curriculum, course offerings, extracurriculars. I could get that to you by Friday.
And I just naturally think that's going to be, you know, the next part of our work session maybe, or where we can start really comparing the rest of the information. Again, I think the financial information was the first step.
Right. But I mean, we see, I guess my point is we see how long it took us to do the dive for the financials. It took us a substantial amount of time, and it's not pointing the finger or anything else. But when you get to curriculum and where we want our kids going or what we want to do, that can take just as long. Well, now we're pushing ourselves right to the limit of, you know, especially if we're going to make all the scenarios I saw us being gone by the end of next year. Well, that's pretty quick moving. And, you know, so I don't understand how you're going to, how we're going to do that in a timely fashion and still make things work for the kids. That's all.
Yeah, no, I think, you know, the right pace has always been, it's a line that we're walking. We want to make sure we're getting the information we need and making informed decisions. I think what Dr. Hines responded was that she's already compiled that data. It's not something that we're going to have to wait for. It's just making sure that we're evaluating one step at a time so that we can really get the information we need. That was, you know, that was my, what I got from her response. Any other comments, questions, discussion?
I do want to say, you know, we live in a small community, and every time somebody has run into me, they have commended the professionality of our new treasurer and superintendent. These are difficult conversations sometimes, and the points that you've shown in these meetings keep coming back to us when we're out in the public, so thank you very much for conducting yourself so professionally as well as this.
Anything regarding the merge forecast? No? Okay. Any unfinished business? Okay. And any new business to come before the board? Okay, so now we're going to entertain our second public participation of the public. We'll begin with Mrs. Jessica Aldridge, as she has requested to address the board. Please remember that the comments are limited to 5 minutes, and all comments should be directed to me. As long as, yeah, if you could come as part of participation, you need to state your name and your address, and so that everyone can hear you, please.
So I'm Jessica Aldridge. My address is 11276 Guinevere Drive. There was no Auburn input on the agenda today, so I just wanted to quickly add that the cosmetology class is now open. We have a working salon. Thursdays at 11:30 if anybody wanted to join. One of the things I wanted to talk about, a couple. Well, one is, I, along with some other parents, met with Dr. Hoynes on October 14th. During that meeting, she talked about how one of the jobs of hers and the board is to make decisions that are fiscally responsible to taxpayers. I just want to know how this online survey is fiscally responsible to taxpayers. Before you answer, I called Burgess & Burgess myself. Spoke with Vanessa and I spoke with Dorgan. Dorgan was very helpful. She helped me understand that surveys taken more than one time from the same IP address would not be deleted unless the answers were identical. That wasn't what was posted on the Facebook page of Newbury Local School. She also told me that a family member in Kansas City's IP address would not be deleted, thus allowing anybody to take the survey and allowing them to take it more than once. For example, IP addresses for McDonald's, libraries, places of employment would not be deleted. She also stated that this online survey is not a statistical one. I don't know what you guys are trying to get out of this online survey, what good it's going to do, but saving taxpayer money, $25,000 wasn't worth it. I do understand that there's a phone survey coming up, but unless the questions are totally different, I don't know how you're going to get people to answer the phones coming from a number that they don't know, or people that don't have home phones. Like, are you going to call me and my husband on my cell phone? I don't know how it's all going to work. I'm not paid to figure that out, but those questions have to be drastically different to make any kind of survey worth anybody's while. From the presentation I just saw, it looks like our taxes are going to increase whether we go to Berkshire or West G. West G's planning on opening up a building, adding on to their building. It looks like they get a state guarantee of 20% now, but if we join Berkshire, we're going to get it's probably going to drop to 10 to 12%.
The guarantee's the same either way.
So it's not 5% at West G, down to 11 to Berkshire?
No, the percentage is the state 2%. The guarantee is the same whether it's 5% or 20%. The guarantee's a fixed number.
Okay, so what's going to happen to our taxes with that? Does that mean we're going to go back on the levy if we go to Berkshire? Because they're going to need more taxes to get back up to whatever. Your jobs of being fiscally responsible to taxpayers, it's not working. And decisions you guys are making and spending this money that we're paying, and then we're getting false information on the Facebook page that surveys are going to be deleted. Call Burgess & Burgess, talk to Dorgan. It's not true. Then what's happening with the teachers? Who's looking out for the teachers, the ones that are educating our kids? If we go either way, nobody wants us, unless we right-sized. Nobody wants us, so we have to let teachers go. So teachers have to come to work, not knowing if they have a job or not. They have to go home, feed their spouses, feed their kids, put food on their table, not knowing if they have a job or not. Sure, they can go look for another job. Where are they going to find another teaching job with declining enrollment everywhere? That's all I got.
Thank you very much.
Could the board respond to that, please?
We have the decision to respond. We have the decision not to respond.
Which you
So
never
we're
do.
comfortable with responding, we will.
You never respond.
Okay, so regarding the tax information, I will, excuse me,
It's not a dictatorship.
it is the rules of Robert's Law and how board business is conducted. So please follow them so that we can continue to conduct our business. Thank you. Regarding our taxes, we would like to share what the tax implications are for each individual. The goal, we do have scenarios that are printed. We have a plan to potentially review those, publish those. Each scenario that I have seen personally has shown a tax decrease in those, immediate tax decreases in those tax scenarios. Again, when those are, we will present those, and I would like to have the auditor approve a link on our website so that you can go in and plug in your personal information and see how that's personally going to affect you. I think education in this situation is the best place to be able to not react emotionally. If you can put in your information and see how that's directly going to impact you, that will
I call and my
hopefully help.
taxes are going up, so I don't know what scenarios you're looking at, but my taxes are going up.
Okay. I said there are 4 scenarios that I have seen. I haven't seen your personal scenario, but there are 4 that I have seen, and I would like to have that calculator available for us to be able to utilize. The right sizing, I think what we can talk about with right sizing is that last presentation of our 5-year forecast as an independent district had the same message. And 25 classes with 5 or less students in them, we have to be responsible. And I know that's...
You're not though, you spent $25,000 on a quick survey.
Is that I think that had we not done a survey, I think you'd be standing right there having something to say about it. And I think that it's important that we do weigh in what you guys all value. Excuse me, I'd like to be able to speak.
You have the
So I would like for you to follow the rules. Okay? Everybody's going to have their 5 minutes. I'm just responding just as requested so that she gets her answer. Please respect that. Surveys were done with good intentions and the right intentions. And those were to hear what all of you value in educating our children. It was not meant to substitute as a vote on a ballot. It was to use as one tool in this process. And that's the response. Okay. The next public input is welcome to come forward for their 5 minutes.
Everybody can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you please say your name and
My name
address?
is Carl Von Busse, I live at 10048 Carl Road here in Newbury.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
My name is Carl Von Busse, Carl with K, with a spell last name.
No, I just didn't hear your
I'm
address.
sorry. If you wouldn't mind using the microphone, we have a recording, and although the people in the audience can hear you, the recorded that shows on the internet. Thank you.
Do I need to start over?
Just the address.
Yeah, my name is Carl Von Busse. I live at 10048 Bell Road here in Newbury. I don't need 5 minutes. I just want a simple answer from the board. Why did you not put a renewal on the current ballot? The levy expires this year. It doesn't seem fiscally responsible to me.
Sure. I can respond. We've responded to that question quite a bit, and I understand why. The logic is that we need to have some finality to this conversation so that we know how much we need and know how to message and tell our story to make it a successful renewal if it's needed and when it's needed. So
It's obviously needed, or we're losing teachers.
That's a riddle.
That's a riddle. That's not an answer.
it is.
If you can't renew it after it expires, then it becomes a new
We've
levy.
said this since March of 2018, if you would like to see a successful renewal, we need to do a lot of hard work, which we have done, we continue to do, and we will continue to do, to make sure that when we ask for it, it is successful.
But then it's not a renewal, then it's a new levy, which is near impossible to
We
pass.
still do have time to put that renewal out.
We're out of time.
We're out of time.
No, we're not. It doesn't expire this year. It doesn't I work for the auditor's office. It does not
When does it
expire this
expire?
year. It expires next year. You still have all of next year to put that on the ballot as a renewal.
Well, then I got bad information.
Yes, you did.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next, public comment. Mr. Wood, you want to come up, please?
My question is on the 5-year projection. Oh, I'm sorry. Dave Gifford, 11825 Pekin Road, Newbury. My question is on the 5-year projection that was presented at the meeting in October. I did a comparison of that October projection with two earlier projections, one of them being the treasurer's forecast that came out in May of 18, and then also the state auditor's forecast, which came out in April of 18. And as I looked there, the most significant item was purchase service expenditures. The October projection showed an increase in purchase service, and this is looking at the period from 2018 through 2022, the 5-year period. There was an increase in purchase services expenditures projected of $1,886,122 between the state auditor's forecast and the October forecast. And then there was an increase in purchase service expenditures of $713,361 from the May of 18 treasurer's forecast to October. And so my question is, what is driving the change that happened from the April and May period to October? What's driving the increases?
Sure. So purchase services can encompass a lot of different things, as you know. Something that we have seen significant increases in is the amount we pay out to some of the educational service centers, such as the Geauga County Educational Service Center, Mahoning County Educational Service Center in Lake County. And all of those amounts are variable upon the students and their needs and what types of services that they need. So those encompass some of the increases we're seeing in purchase services.
Do we have new programs that we didn't have before, or is it the same programs?
You know, I would have to look and see what they had last year. I know that they have been very significant bills that have been coming across so far for this year.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like their 5 minutes? Sue, did you have a question?
There is something I'd like to say. Right now, this is very emotional. This is a hot button topic for all of us. You know, I've been on this board for a while now. One thing that, whether you agree with the survey, and personally, you know, I've heard the good, the bad, and the ugly about it. You know, there's things that's gone on with this board that I don't particularly agree with. One of the things I'd like to tell all of you, though, is yelling at people from your seats just weakens your voice. If you really have something to say, come up to the microphone, give them your name, and talk to them. Because just yelling at people, that doesn't get any of our points across. And then we tend to shut people down, and they shut us down. This should be a dialogue. This is very important. This is our kids' future. This is our kids, our grandkids in some cases, cousins, nephews. There is nobody that wants to see this school open more than me. I've coached here, I've been on this board here, and everything else. Let's just please try to do it with some respect. I know we all come from different ideas. There's a lot of the people that I don't agree with. There's people up here I don't agree with. We all know that. But I'm not going to yell over them. I'm going to at least listen to them. Because that's what I thought we're supposed to do. And we're easy targets sitting up here. Because we're the ones that were dumb enough to run for the position. But so please, instead of yelling out, if you have a point, come up. And what I highly suggest to everybody, no matter which side you fall in on this, write your stuff down. Have something come there, because we get so emotional and so worked up, even myself. that we come up there and we sound unintelligent, is a nice way to put it. So please, be respectful. Well, we're going to go through these next few months, and I want everybody to be here. I want everybody to have a voice. I really do. But let's try to make it so we're not having a civil war every board meeting. Let's have it so at least you get your point across to us. People listen better that way. Okay? So thank you.
I appreciate that. I want to just say that seeing the crowd of this size, it is, I love that. Whether you agree or disagree with me specifically or the board, I think that this is so very important to see all of your faces here. And whether you're new faces or you've been here through the whole step of the way, we welcome every single one of you to continue to come through this process. It is so important. And I know that there's complaints about the survey. I know that there's complaints about the pace. I understand all of that. We're trying to do the very best that we can with all the right intentions. So thank you, Mr. Sanders, for putting that back into perspective for all of us. Hey, does anyone else want to come up for their public input? Yes.
I'm Russ Hamby. I live at 11149 Whitewood Drive in Newbury, Ohio. I just have a couple of quick questions. The meetings that you'll be having with the other districts, are those open to the public?
So those are representatives from each district, mostly administration, and sometimes there's a board, the board president has a presence. Tomorrow is the same format, and if we have any other different format changes, we'll let the public know. So no, not yet.
Okay. All right, very good. What is the assumption in either district scenario with the existing staff, teachers, and administration, as far as will those positions be carried forward into those districts? What is the assumption?
We do not have those numbers yet. They have said they feel that we're overstaffed based on their staffing guidelines. We're supposed to start getting into that discussion tomorrow.
So when will the public know?
I think that's what we're going to discuss tomorrow. So we're going to have to get into their particulars of their assumptions and decide when those are communicated and how they're communicated.
Okay. All right, very good. When do those districts want an answer from us, and when would we be willing to give an answer to them?
The timeline hasn't been definitely determined yet. It's our understanding that Berkshire is talking to their board tonight, and they, at their December meeting, plan to make a motion as to whether they're going to continue to talk to us. West G has not made a commitment yet, either way.
So I just have to look at this from a business perspective. You showed 2 different scenarios, 2 different districts, all going broke in 3 years. Why would anybody want to enter into that venture? It was rhetorical. Thank you very much.
I'd like to respond. I think just in being a part of these conversations that with declining enrollment in county, statewide, and if you look at most districts, you can forecast a deficit, and if you look out to the 5 years in their forecast. And so I think everybody in this conversation, and I think countywide, is continuing the conversation to make sure that they're being financially responsible and providing a quality education and constantly evaluating that. Anyone else?
If I could just add to that comment that you made, of that sentiment. It is a county and statewide problem, and the reason we're doing this is because we need to work together as a county community to figure out a solution. And those solutions don't get found by not talking about it. So that's what all of this is about, is finding a county solution to a county and statewide problem.
My name is Mason Heath, and I'm with
My name is Mason Heath. I live at 12792 Chamberlain Road, Aurora, Ohio. And my question is, you said by 2021, Brookshire would not want these buildings. Are you making the statement saying the class of 2020 will be the last class to graduate from Newbury? Or are you saying that our freshman class and our classes after that actually have a shot?
I think these are all assumptions on when these transfers take place. And with this assumption that we've given Mr. Sobel and what we're discussing with the other districts is that 2020 would be the best in this assumption, not in the decision, but in the assumption for these numbers. Anyone else? Oh, sorry.
My name is Heather Elliott. My address is 14898 Caves Road. I am here because, yes, I do have students in this school, and I have had some that has already graduated. One of the questions that was not shown on your display was, how many students do we have that are open enrolled to Newbury? Into the district.
I had that on my last 5-year forecast. I could provide that information to you.
We don't have an answer right now. We have it to the day of how many of our students are elsewhere.
And it's all available online on the Ohio Department of Education.
To the day.
To the day, yes, exactly.
Okay.
And now it shows both ways.
Our school, because I have had a child for the last 4 years that has been open enrolled, have found a lot of disorganization in another where I live, to the point where I just received a bill Friday for my daughter being enrolled at their district for this year. I also received a report card, and this is what I want my kids to go to, a district where they don't even know about a student that isn't there and has never been there. She has always been enrolled here since the beginning of her school education. Another thing that I would like to mention is thank you for finally responding, and I'm not being sarcastic, but thank you for finally responding to any questions. Maybe a lot of this bitterness between everybody would not have happened if we would have at least had a response, acknowledgement, even for our students who have come and asked you questions. I know I have spoken to 2 of the members aside, and it's very leery as to what we can ask them and what they can answer. But I think if you would have answered some of this information a year ago, like you did when we had the meeting over at the library, you answered questions there to us. Granted, you were not in the office, but you did answer questions. A lot of the bitterness that is going on in this school district might have been eliminated. You stated, I believe, Kimya, that this is a county problem. Is the county involved in any of this decision?
When they refer to the ESC, that is the county.
I know, but I'm asking, are they involved in any of this? We haven't been told that there is any involvement from them.
So the county ESC has representation from their superintendent and board president at these meetings, and they are actually serving as a role of a facilitator to these conversations. So yes, they are present, and we have stated that previously.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? We need to get in. Come forward, please.
Both go to Newbury. We live at 10916 Chardon Road.
What was your name, please?
Julianne and Madeline Fristerio. So we're open enrollment students from Chardon, and we want to know like what's going to happen to us, like our education, where we're going to go. We came to Newbury for like a better education, as weird as that sounds from Chardon. But since going to Chardon and going to Newbury now, Newbury's like the best school I've ever been to. You know, it makes me a little sad that all this is going on. We can't really find an answer, I guess. But like, what am I supposed to do next year if the school is going to shut down?
Yeah, that's a fair enough question. I think not just from you both. I think that's the same question that a lot of students are having and a lot of parents are having, a lot of staff are having. That is kind of why we want to have a finality to these conversations, because we know that it's hard to try to plan your educational career and gain as much experience that you can. So to answer your question, with open enrolled kids into our district, Dr. Points, if you want to speak specifically on how open enrolled into.
Can I just say one more thing? Like, will my education be like thrown away? Will they be like, oh, since they're open enrollment, like they're not like, they don't live in Newbury Township, so are they just going to be like thrown away like next, like goodbye? Is that like how it's going to happen? Could you answer that?
I can't answer that right now.
Yeah.
We actually have to work through the negotiations with the merge and how those open enrolled students will, how that will look in the transfer. We don't know at this time.
And since we're open enrollment, does that mean like our parents would have to pay taxes since we go to the school for the school? Or like?
No. You pay your resident, your home district is the tax that you pay. So if you're a Chardon resident, you're paying Chardon taxes.
Well, I don't know much about it, so that's why I'm
No,
asking.
that's fine. Yep, that's fine. And please feel free to contact us about these questions. We'll give you as much as we can. Those, you know, that is a good question to bring to us. We do know we have open enrolled students, and we should be able to communicate those changes for you as well. Okay? Anyone else? Last chance. Now, we'll have another work session. I will be able to publicize it for you so that you can attend if you wish. And I thank you all for coming. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.